The 360 Info. I'm your host, Antonio. What you do for yourself depends on what you think of yourself. And what you think of yourself depends on what you know of yourself. And what you know of yourself depends on what you've been told of yourself. Welcome to the show. Got a great show for you today as well. We always like bringing you some good information. You know, around this time, I know we out there and some of the festive stuff is starting to take hold to you because this is the season. And I know you get a little, balmy, a little, into the season during this time. But let's not give all the dollars away to the system. Let's circulate some of that dollars back, those dollars back, y'all. Black Friday, they pumping it up and promoting it, and we running out there giving our dollars up trying to find those deals. But I told you last week that I was going to try to give you a website where you can go at least spend a couple dollars with somebody who a conscious community that's make products that and goods and services that you can get. So I'm gonna give you that website. It's called and it can go through me. It's hamptonio.garveynation.com. hamptonio.garveynation.com. Go there and spend a couple dollars with some African American businesses and spread the love a little bit. Don't give it all away to Walmart and things of that like. Okay, so do that for me. And I don't ask too much of you guys. So go out there and spend a couple dollars with them, and buy somebody something for Kwanzaa, Martin Luther King Day, or whatever. Okay, and if you do Christmas, get it from Christmas as well. In the remote studio, we got our good brother Vince. What's going on, Vince?
Well, brother, I'm getting things together on this end, and I'm excited about the guest that we have on today because he is going to be talking about a marketplace where you can buy Black created products and services. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about his music. We're also going to talk about a book that he's written. But in the meantime, I just want to let you know that you do have an opportunity to buy Black today at Larchmere Arts. My artist friends, Rodney Carpenter and Bonnie Venable, have set up shop in the studio. They've been there for almost a month, and I anticipate that they may be there for another week or so. But they have art for sale. And the last time I spoke to them, they said they didn't have anything that was over $200. So you can go to Larchmere Arts. You can get some creations that are made by Black artists here in Cleveland. And I'm telling you, it's beautiful and it's quality work. So 12726 Larchmere Boulevard. Today, I think they're going to be there at least from 1 to 6 p.m. So you got a 5-hour window that you can go. And if you're not still tired from running the streets yesterday, you can stop by Larchmere Arts and get some art. We have a brother on with us today. His name is Abdulwadud. He's also known as Questman. And he is a recording artist. He's got music videos and recordings that you can purchase online through his website, which is souljourneyoflife.org. Souljourneyoflife.org. And we have some other things that we want to talk about, but the brother was in Larchmere Arts. He did a program back in 2021. So we haven't really talked a whole lot since then, but I know that he's been busy and his website is the evidence of that. So with all of that, I'd like to welcome to 360 Info Network, brother Abdulwadud. How you doing today, bro?
Yes, indeed. Peace and blessings. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing well. Absolutely. So let's just jump right into it. You have written a book. Tell us about the book and tell us about the story that goes along with it.
Okay, and I do have the link for it here. You can find it in Amazon.com for sale. The book, the title of it is The Apple from the Original Tree. And basically, as I kind of explain on the back cover of the book, it's a story of a stolen apple. And the story, the book itself is full of symbolism in and of itself that those who understand, something of a part of our story, our story can relate with. But it's told in a way that's kind of is allegorical through the experience of an apple. So, if you can kind of imagine, like a beautiful ripe apple representing a community of culture, you know, you know that when I give an example with people about this part of our story, I would tell them, I say, if I took an apple from a tree, right, and crossed a river and took its seeds and planted on the other side of the river, what kind of a tree do I have? Do I have an orange tree or a banana tree, or do I still have an apple tree? Now imagine if that tree was, you know, an original sort of a tree, and all of its seeds, all of its descendants derived from that tree. But imagine if the seeds forgot who they were. Or suppose they were told they were something else. For example, an onion. What kind of a story would that make? And I think that if you read that story, read this book, you'll find out what it is. If I can, I can share the link. I can share the page here. I've got it right here, if you don't mind.
You can share it, but just keep in mind that our viewers or our listeners can't see it because they're listening on the radio.
So for those who are listening on the radio, what you do is you go to Amazon.com. Let me share the page right there, and you'll type in the search, "The Apple from the Original Tree, a Legendary Fable of Sojourney of Life." If you type that in there, you'll get to the page. It's available in Kindle, and it's also available as a hardcover, and you'll see it right there. So, you know, if you have a Kindle account, that's the digital version, and the hardcover is what you can purchase. I would encourage purchasing the hardcover because I like to have these, you know, I like to have my books in my hand where I could read it physically. So I believe you'll find it's a good reading. It's good, colorful pictures, very, very detailed pictures, clear, you know, nice book to have. And with, you know, many people celebrating the holidays or whatnot, whether it be Kwanzaa or Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you may be participating in, this might be a good purchase to, you know, to share as a gift with your family. So yeah, that's what I'll say about that. And I'll add more to. I'll say simply that a lot of heart was put into it, a lot of reflection, and I was actually moved because I wrote this book some time ago. This wasn't a recent writing. I wrote the, if you would, manuscript some time ago, and some people were telling me how much they liked it, and I'm like, I need to, you know, refine it, you know, get it cleared up with, you know, editing or whatnot, make sure there's no typos or whatever, and go ahead and publish it. And so that's, you know, I went ahead and did just that. And there you have it.
Okay. Talk to us about your music. You not only are you a writer, but you are also doing music. Give us an idea of the nature of the music that you're doing right now.
Okay, so now I've been doing music literally since I was 8 years old. You know, I've been in like different, like, I guess you could say I started off in like church-like environments. But as I grew up, you know, I started to, you know, want to deliver something that not only expressed, you know, my views of life and what I observe in the world around me, but do it in a way that I felt, you know, was constructive, that would be elevative at the same time, as we would say, conscious. And I know many people kind of toy with that word these days, but sometimes, you know, I feel like, you know, you can't separate consciousness from sincerity. You know, it's got to be real. It's got to be in you. It's got to be in your heart. So my music tends to reflect that. And as one of the viewers on my YouTube channel put it, it reflects. They noticed that each of my songs kind of reflect a moment in my life, there's like a hint of some stage in my life that I was going through, or like an experience. And each song kind of reminds me of that. It's like when I hear a certain song of mine, it's like a nostalgic moment because it reminds me of where I was or what I was doing or what I was thinking about and so on. I can give you an example of, well, I'd say my favorite song. And if you would like, let me see. I'll get this together here, right there. Boom. Like me to play it?
Go ahead.
All right, let's check it out. This one is called We Could See. Let's see here. This one is called We Could See. And oh, I know I did that. All right, here we go.
Okay.
You see that?
Yes, I'm seeing it. Not hearing it though.
Oh, so I gotta make sure I click that mic. Share the sound. Share audio. All right, here we go.
Hey, does this mic work?
That wasn't the song I wanted, but we can work with it.
Questman. And do it all over again. Once upon a time in the city, busy streets yet I'm a master of minding my own business. Sitting in the library contemplating how to keep minding my own business. Seeking through the nitty-gritty and getting what my hands hustle for. Split the early morning coffee. I need to find a way to benefit and be a benefit. A way that's revolutionary. I see the signs and symbols, yet the wallets are looking very scary for a visionary. The struggle is real. Every day I look high and low to maintain close shelter and deals to pave the way for the next meal. As I go, as I flow, as I go, as I know, wherever I go, the real is all I show. As I go, as I flow, as I go, as I know, wherever I go, the real is all I show. Hey, what keeps the planets in orbit? Are you sure that I'm trying to get my hands in the market? Did I mention I'm a starving artist? Hungry to get to the bigger picture. I clock out in a few minutes. Got me treating this work tickets like sacred scriptures. I've been here since sunrise, working like an ox dressed in a fancy suit and tie. What's in your wallet? Only the fabric of life. Is it the pursuit of purpose that I find solace? Or the taste of daily bread? By the time I get home and singing sad songs in the shower, and take my butt straight to bed. Tomorrow, rinse, repeat, and do it all over again. As I flow, as I go, as I know, wherever I go, the real is all I show. As I go, as I flow, as I go, as I know, wherever I go, the real is all I show. Wherever I go, the real is all I show. Catching emails like she got a disease, and all I'm trying to do is make pockets of cheese. Wherever I go, I'm just doing the best that I can, just passing through narrow roads and strange lands. The keys to the car.
All right. So it's quite interesting, particularly from a visual perspective. Let's talk about your website, Soul Journey of Life. We'll cut straight to the chase and talk about the concept and how you would like to have the community engaged in it. Can't hear you, brother. Your audio is muted.
There we go. All right, so the website in which you speak of is none other than Soul Journey of Life, Conscious Black Social Media. Now, it's souljourneyoflife.org. So souljourneyoflife.org. That'll bring you to the website. And that website, let me do this so I can talk and look at the same time. Like that. All right, so there's the website right there. I got to share. So basically, Soul Journey of Life is designed to be like a multi-purpose platform, right? Is a social media platform where communities, organizations, individuals, businesses can basically set up shop in whatever way they see fit, whether it be, let's say you are a tutor or something, and you want to be able to like establish like a space to, build with your students, or maybe you have some type of programs or whatnot. It could be community programs, activist programs, you name it. You can develop groups. You can, and in those groups, you can have video chats, private chats. What do you want to say? Of course, you could have messaging. Your messaging could have voice messaging, text messaging, all of these type of things. In addition to that, there is the ability to, you can set up a shop if you're a vendor. You can buy from the shops if you're a customer. The shop aspect, I've been trying heavily to inspire brothers and sisters, if they're vendors, to set up shop there. And in so doing, even if you have your own website, you can, if you would, expand your market. You understand? There's that, and also, of course, there's the music. You can find Questman music there, and eventually the objective is other brothers and sisters music in the same location. If you come to the website, let's say you come to the website for advice, or just you just want something to do. You understand? Burn some time. Get connected. That's one thing you could do. But let's say you don't know anybody. Let's say you have questions that may be difficult to answer. There's this page or section called the Village Circle. And in the Village Circle, I'm gonna go to the page now. In the Village Circle are two aspects to this. There's one where you can chat with any member of the community that happens to be online at the time. It's a public chat where, like, literally the whole community could be in there. We could just be all chatting about, whatever, our hearts can, desire, community related or whatnot. It is mildly moderated, so that way we can keep everything clean and conscious and, thoughtful, mindful of, different age groups that might be in the chat. You have that, but you will see that also you can even continue your private chat there as well. You see at the bottom right, you have your own chat where you can send messages to friends, groups that you might be in on the platform. But there's also this other aspect of it. If I go up here, you see that it says the Village Circle community. That's what we're at now. But if I click the Village Circle AI community, you see that there's AI villagers, if you would, and each of them have their own, so to speak, personality. In other words, the way, if you were to start a conversation with any of them, the conversation will be different depending on which villager you choose. So, for example, you see, there is a doctor, Dr. Kareem Kante. Dr. Kareem Kante, you could talk to him about general medical advice, and he will provide that for you. But he will not have the same type of conversation as, for example, Umoja, the village chief. He's going to have a different kind of conversation, different context. And oftentimes, if you ask them about things that are not in their range, they'll refer you to the person who does. And for example, officer, or let me say, the imam, might be, who they will refer you to regarding, like, spiritual matters or things concerning Islam or something like that. You got Raja Flo, the wordsmith, who can even, write you a rhyme or a song if you ask them to. And it all depends on the kind of conversation you start. You could literally talk about whatever you want to the sky's the limit, so to speak, and they will respond accordingly. They will talk to you. They will literally, break bread depending on whatever their characteristics are. So that's one way to do it. You could, like I said, you could ask advice about, maybe you're 2 months pregnant and you're trying to figure out, well, what do I do? What happens next? What are some things I should expect? Some of them will actually give you a solid response to that. And, of course, they will recommend you to, certain things are the case. Like if you have an emergency, they'll recommend you to go ahead and go to the hospital, something like that. They'll give you strong advice. So Soul Journey of Life is meant to kind of be an online platform for our community to kind of come in closer together. Many of us, we frequent Facebook, we frequent Instagram, we frequent many of these platforms that we kind of disappear into. But Soul Journey of Life is meant to come home and make you not really disappear, but actually get more involved directly, with your community. Because imagine if more community involvement was participating, people people that you see in some of your support groups or your organizations, your activist groups are there. the conversation becomes more, where you feel more comfortable, you feel more relaxed, you feel more family like. That's why we say village.
So just to be clear, when you're involved in these conversations and it's an AI based platform, you're not actually having a conversation with that person, but you're having a conversation with that person based on the information that's available from what they've contributed to the Internet of Things.
Well, again, that's if you select that, because it can be you and, let's say you and him have an account. You can chat with each other all day long with your own private chat. But let's say you wanted to, to go to use the AI villagers. The AI villagers, think of them as like on-site advisors. You understand, to different degrees. On-site advisors for whatever, it could be legal, it could be medical, it could be spiritual, it could be, social. You understand? And one of the things that you'll notice, all of them are pro us as a people. You understand? All of them are pro us, still reflected in their own personalities. So yeah, you can much of it will depend on what you say. Now you're asking about their sourcing or their referencing. The referencing is based upon what all the available information that's on the internet. But it's like I said, it depends on which AI villager you talk to, because certain ones they're designed to not be as smart as the other, or not be as sophisticated as the other, or not be as legalese as you understand. So there's different personalities, and like there's a young boy named Wapinzi. He's obviously not going to be who you go to for legal advice, but he might be who you go to know what the next video game is. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So it just depends.
Yeah, what I'm getting to though is that if you're talking about a professional person, the information that they provide often is not free. For instance, if you want legal advice, an attorney is more likely to charge you for that advice than to just give it away. So if you're talking about AI based information, that information can be free. But if you're talking about specific information, medical information, legal information, many times it would depend on that person's level of consciousness as to whether or not they would want to provide that information for free.
And that's why I mentioned, like, for example, let's say you were to ask the Dr. Kareem something medical, he will give you general publicly available advice, like whatever is publicly available that would be known scholastically, he would present that to you. But when it goes up to a certain extent, he will advise you to go to, go to your medical professionals. You understand? He will actually tell you, if there's an emergency, or if there's this or that, you need to consult your medical professionals, and they'll do that. Like in the case of the legal, there's an attorney. He'll give you basic advice, general advice, but when it gets to a certain point, he'll advise you to seek out, legal professional assistance, at that point.
Okay. Brother Lynn, you've been listening. What are your thoughts about this platform? I'm sure because it has a cultural angle to it, it might be something that resonates with you.
Yeah, I think it's, information is all, it's always good for us as a people to be able to tap into anything that help our cause and move our cause along. And from what I'm trying to gather and trying to understand and wrap around what the brothers put together, it sounds like I say, another platform, another tool that we can use to connect. And it sounds like he said, from an Afrocentric point of view, that a lot of this information is being disseminated. And again, that's always a good thing to do. And see, I like the other aspect too, that a lot of people around the town has been trying to get us, directed towards some type of directory, or to where people can go and seek out certain things and talk with other people and put their businesses and things like that into area to where we can retrieve those particular things, or if you got functions or events and stuff like that going on. We've been trying to put together, or other folks been trying to put together some type of a resource that we all can connect on, and retrieve and get information that we need, and market our goods and services. It's all, I mean, we can't get enough of those platforms based on where we at as a people right now. That's why I talked about the Buy Black Network, or go to the Hamptonio.Garvey Nation and make some purchases, because we find ourselves, to be continually in this little conundrum that we on this hamster wheel that we never get out of, and until we, again, reach this level of consciousness of having some intent and purpose of why and what we're doing, we're going to continue to remain there. So marketing and talking about different things like this is necessary for us as a people, always necessary for us, because we lagging. Because we probably all of us gonna probably drop our jaw when we hear how much money we spent yesterday giving to somebody else, on Black Friday, because that's what they do. They market to us, and we tend to give it up. So I would like to hope, and you brothers can maybe comment on it as well. I hope we're starting to make some progress with that, and people understanding, where we at and how we need to circulate our dollars and our resources.
Well, you got to start somewhere, and perhaps this is a good place to start. I really like the idea of the village circle. I think there needs to be some connectivity within the realm of our conscious community, and I think this is a perfect way to do it. Brother Abdulwadud, we have a question from PJ Cooper, who is watching our program on Facebook, and I'd like to take this time to remind our viewers that you can see us on Facebook, on the 360 Info Network Facebook page. You can also visit my Facebook page, and you can also view us on 2 different YouTube channels. You can see us on the Journey with Antonio, that YouTube channel. You can also see 360 Info Network on my YouTube channel. So you got all kinds of ways to see our program. But here is the question. She says, how protected is your privacy from the wider systems and government institutions when sharing the information? Brother Abdul?
I don't know if he's frozen or not.
Okay, he's not hearing the question. I do believe.
It looked like he's froze too. I haven't moved.
Yeah, sometimes we have these issues with the internet. It's not perfect, and then sometimes we kind of have to wonder if somehow there's some intercession. We're talking about something of extreme significance, Brother Antonio, and that is connecting the conscious community to each other and sharing intellectual information. And I'll take this time to just talk about something that I reflect on every once in a while, and that is J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover, among other things, was Black. Some folks may or may not know, but he actually had that in his heritage. But one thing that he was really passionate about was putting a muzzle on Black intellectuality. The greatest threat to American democracy from his perspective, and the greatest threat to this, what I call pseudo white supremacy, is Black intellectualism. And so we many times don't get exposed to it, or we do what we do. And I'll give you credit for this, bringing intellectual thought into our community. So we've hosted brothers like Professor Small and Charles Finch and many of the other scholars that are in our headspace, but it's unfortunately only in the headspace of a few. It's not generally in the mind space of a lot of people, because they're not exposed to that information and they want to keep us away from it, because basically that's the source of our liberation. When we start having these deeply intellectual conversations and start doing strategic planning and doing the things that we need to do to be responsible for ourselves, that's when they take umbrage to that activity. I mean, you can look at things like Black Wall Street and some of the other communities in the United States that were African centered and successful, and see how they got taken down. So again, the threat is Black intellectual thought. Brother Abdulwadud is back with us, and I'm going to pose the question to you again. It came from PJ Cooper, and she said, how protected is your money or your privacy from the wider systems and government institutions when sharing the information through your website?
Can you hear me this?
Yeah.
Yes,
Can you hear me this time? Okay.
Yes.
So, you know, this is still the United States, and you no matter what company you go with, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, or anybody, even WhatsApp, you still have to follow the federal codes. So I have to have a privacy policy. You'll notice that Soul Journey of Life has a privacy policy. The messaging system is encrypted. Like when the method of communication is encrypted. You're able to adjust, you know, like if you post anything, you're able to adjust the level of privacy as you would on any other like social media platform. You know, the rules, like, you know, what you might find with like WhatsApp, you know, there's pretty much the same in line with something like that when it comes to messaging and posting. You know, so for what I can say about that, for the most part, you know, the fundamental rules that we have, that anything has to go by in the United States are applied. But one thing I can tell you is, since this is a small business, or a I could say small business, what do I say? The what do you call it? Were you able to make sure that, you know, foul language and things like that aren't used? All these protocols.
Censorship.
What's that?
Yeah,
censorship and things like that are all put in place. You understand? So that way our website could be clean. And because it's a private website, you know, think about like Facebook and Instagram. These are enormous companies that they've got a lot to prove, so to speak, for the public. They've got to be politically correct. You understand what I'm saying?
Brother Abdullah?
Yeah.
I got a suggestion, you know, something that's, you know, that's something that you can possibly add to the website.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we always, like you say again, looking for things and searching for things, you know, and looking for those solutions that you know, that pretty much cater to our needs and our wants, you know what I mean? And I think that, you know, if we can you know, put those things to where we can, you know, like I say, make that site a go-to for most of those particular things and issues that we want. And it was something that I had thought about as well. I mean, we got certain issues in our community, and business is one of those things. And having you know, that repeat business, you know, we need to be, because, you know, connected. You know how we you had things like the Horizon, and you had I forgot the Black Pages and things like that, where people can get connected and try to connect with folks, you know. So having that information there where people can, you know, put those particular things there, I think it would be very, very good and necessary for us to do that. And I think it can actually,
like a directory.
Yes, like a directory as well. When people have challenges and issues, you know, they can. I think that's where you're going with it. They can seek out and try to get some help for those particular things and challenges like that. So it'll be good. Like in our Black community, we have a problem with supporting each other as far as business is concerned. So actually, you can use that to for folks that are seeking some type of employment as well, you know.
Yes.
You know, as far as businesses is concerned, like we have a problem with customer service. I had an idea of creating a network of training our young folks proper customer service, because that seems to be a big problem in our community of supporting each other. And then people talk about bad business and bad business practices. You know what I mean? So if we had a directory to where, you know, that potential hirees has been vetted out, and you can go to this particular, and people that are seeking jobs, where they can go, you know, let's say I open up a restaurant or whatever, and I need somebody to work my counter, you know, someone who's been vetted out, that that they can go and attach themselves to, and go look at the directory and see if they can find some good help, something like that.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. This is why you have your brother on the team, right?
Yes.
Because we, you know, great minds think alike. And you know, when this website is a lot bigger than I've been able to show here. It's a lot more. I've only like done, like, I'd say 1/8 of what the site is capable of doing, maybe 1/10 of what is available on the site. And with more participation and more involvement, you know, some of the aspects that you're talking about there will grow. What I was just showing there was the Black Business Directory. Obviously, it needs Black businesses to participate and add themselves to the directory, as you see these businesses did, for it to be more, you know, of a benefit. One, you can see the business listed. It also will show you the location of the business with the map there. What you're talking about, there is a job dashboard of which you can both add a job and look for a job. But of course, we need people to add jobs to the dashboard. In addition to shopping, you know, things of that nature. You mentioned also the ability to be able to train. I would suggest creating a forum and a group, you understand, that will cater towards training and inviting brothers for such training, such as creating resumes and things like that. And in fact, on Soul Journey of Life, you can upload documents and share documents in the group. You know, like Google's what do you call that? Google Drive. You know, so you can almost do a Google Drive on Soul Journey of Life. It has that option to be able to upload files, documents, share them back and forth, you know, for said purposes. So yeah, I'm yeah.
Okay.
These things have been done.
So I wanted to go back to the original question, and it's really about the idea of encryption. There was encryption and there was also censorship. So want to touch on those things too. Do you have encryption built into the website so that there's privacy within the messaging between people who are engaged in it?
Yes. Mind you, it's private messaging. Like if you notice on the tab here, I'll share this again. Let's go back here.
Remember,
so if you look,
go ahead.
Oh, I didn't share it yet. Yeah. So I share the screen, and this is you know, nothing that you know, I need to be concerned about. But here, the messaging system allows you to be able to. I'm not popping it up for a reason, but the messaging system allows you to be able to message any of your friends privately. You know, just, you know, if you're familiar with messaging on Facebook or any type of messaging platform, then you know how to use a messenger. But it is encrypted in a similar way that WhatsApp. If you're familiar with WhatsApp, it's encrypted in a similar way that WhatsApp is encrypted. In other words, no one but you, even if other people are on the site, no one but you and your correspondent is privileged to the message, that the conversation, whether it be voice or a voice recording or photo uploads or anything like that. The transfer of that information is encrypted. Okay,
so I get it. The other thing
but there's one more thing I'll add to that. That's not the same thing as posting on the activity panel. Posting, you have to adjust it yourself and make it private or make it public or make it so that only members can see it. You understand? If you don't do that, if you post it and it's public, then it's public.
It's kind of like YouTube in terms of your ability to post to the public or share videos privately or whatever. I understand that. I guess I also wanted to talk to you about the idea of censorship, because it seemed to me that you were saying that there were certain filters involved that might prohibit profanity and so forth.
To a certain degree.
To a certain degree. But the reason that I raise this issue is because in mainstream social media like Facebook and YouTube, we have ultra censorship to a point where you can't use words like KILL or other things like that, or MURDER or whatever, you know, and I think this is really a departure from the idea that we have freedom of speech in this country. So I guess I would express a certain level of concern about the issue of censorship, because we need to be able to speak to each other in ways that we can understand and provide information that is useful.
Our language,
the language itself.
Well, one of the things you'll notice is, you know, that there's an emphasis on taking control of our narrative. You understand? This is our story, and because of the, you know, your brother's the founder of the platform, so you know I understand the essence of our of what we're striving for, because that's what I'm striving for. So in this case, this is meant to cater towards our way of communicating. You understand? Our way of breaking bread with one another, and it's intended not to hinder that. And you may notice that I don't have an app on the Apple Store. I do have an app in the Google Play Store, but not in the Apple Store. And there's a reason for that, for what you just said right there, because I wasn't willing to conform to the rigid censorship methods that Apple insists that you have. I don't have an app on Apple. That's the reason why there's no app in the Apple Store. You understand? So that said, my insistence on, you know, allowing the platform to be available for our type of conversation, speaking about things that are relevant to us, because some reason things that are relevant to us seems to be offensive to people it's not relevant to. You know, go figure. Yeah. So that's why, you know, and I believe me, I tried hard to get it on Apple, because I know a lot of people are iPhone lovers and things like that, but without me being able to belittle the censorship bar, it won't happen. You know, you're on mute now.
I just happen to be someone who utilizes the Apple universe, and the more and more I learn about it, the more and more I need to be concerned about the platform. You know, that new iPhone 16.
Yeah.
They say that the surveillance on that bad boy is ratcheted up to the nth degree. And, you know, it's such that your phone can actually monitor your movements and know what you're doing at all times. And I'm not sure about this, but you could actually be in another part of the house and it's still following you. You know, the other thought that I had is just about phones in general. You know, I do have an Android phone, and I purchased it last year. And I, you know, got it on Mint Mobile, $15 a month, unlimited data, blah, blah, blah. But I've noticed that if I don't use the phone, because I don't have need to use the phone all the time, if I just leave that phone off for a period of time, I'll come back to it and the battery is drained. But the phone was off. That doesn't make sense to me, except the way that I might explain it is that even though the phone is off, it's still on.
It was still on, right?
Because those devices are constantly engaged. They're constantly listening. They're constantly monitoring. So your point about iOS is well said. You know, I'm also thinking about the fact that Elon Musk is coming out with a new phone, a satellite phone that he's selling for $299. Wow. And I'm just wondering, you know, how safe that is going to be for us to use. I mean, $299, and I could be wrong about this, but I think you'll be able to use that phone all over the planet.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a great deal for those of us who travel. But I'm just wondering about, you know, the AI applications and all the other kind of stuff. But, you know, this is something that we may be struggling with. but the world is changing.
Yeah.
You know, and things are moving towards digitization in ways that, you know, I was listening to Michael Saylor yesterday, and he was making a case for Bitcoin. And he was just talking about how different it is from all the other assets, and how everything at some point, the real estate, property, all those things are going to be digitized. And this is happening as we speak. It's not a question if it's going to happen or when it's going to happen. It's already happening. So, you know, we're losing a certain level of control that we once had in terms of privacy, in terms of our activities. You know, we're even our mind space. I mean, you click on one thing on the internet, and the next thing you know, you're getting ads for that product. And sometimes it could be something that you talked to somebody else about. You didn't even click on something. You had a conversation with somebody about something, and then the next thing you know, you're getting ads on your phone. So I guess what I'm saying is this idea of privacy, even our thoughts aren't private anymore.
Right.
So we're going to have to adapt, and whether we like it or not, we're going to have to accept certain realities about technology and about digitization and about the ways that things are moving forward in this world, with our consent or without our consent. Your website does provide us with some options, and I think that we should be looking at being able to exercise some of those options so that we can communicate with each other and express ideas to each other within a community that has an awareness of what's going on. So you've got the Village Circle, and you also have the Light Dome. Talk to us about what the Light Dome is.
Okay. So basically, the Light Dome is intended to be the place for audio, books, and things of that nature. Let me put the tab up here. And by the way, you know, as we're speaking of advice and whatnot, you know that may improve the site, which is always welcome. Participation, and the more participation and the more support for the site also will help increase the the quality of the site,
value of it.
Yeah, the value of it, all these things, because you have to remember, I'm an individual. You understand? And I've literally been keeping this site alive, quote unquote, since I started it. And this has been going on for several years now. It's improved since how it began, but I would like to be able to see it with better optimization and whatnot. But all that requires community support and community involvement. What I have up here now is the Light Dome tab. If you click the Light Dome tab, it'll bring you to this page that I'm showing here. This is the Light Dome. And right now, all you see is your brother Questman's content, but it's intended to be a place to house, all of our artists, all of our, local artists and musicians and authors and art and painters and, what have you, to be able to have their products here, and for people to come in and shop around. So right now you see, this is, it's smothered with your brother. You understand? Nothing but love. But the intent is where I'd be able to scroll down and see our host music up here, other brothers and sisters in the communities, skills up on the platform right there for sale. You understand? Well, literally we can come to this is meant to be our nexus, our online nexus to for all sorts of resources. You understand? That's what it's meant to be. But it needs people actually not only utilizing it, but people supporting it and putting into it for that to happen.
Well, Brother Abdulwadud, this is the reason that you're on this radio program right now. And this is the reason that we were broadcasting this to Facebook and YouTube. obviously, I think this is a great project, and I think there needs to be awareness. What can you do, or what are you doing to create interest and participation?
Well, as you may or may not know, I also have a YouTube channel, and periodically through my YouTube channels, when I'm talking about whatever the topic is, I'll inject a reminder about the website and things of that nature. I also try to communicate locally. You understand, and I've actually gone to some shops and places to see if they were interested in marketing some of their in-store products online. You understand? Like there's a Nigerian shop on I think it's Broadway or someplace over there. It's near 116th. But anyway, I was like, well, this gives you an opportunity. Even see, here's the thing people need to understand. Even if you have your own online shop, because some of us are like, well, I've already got a website. I've already got a website. Well, fine. But so do many of the people that are on Amazon. But they're still selling their products on Amazon, even though they have their own website. So that doesn't take having your own website and selling products also on Soul Journey of Life doesn't take away. Since Soul Journey of Life is meant to be a nexus, people that are traveling through, so to speak, as I would like to put it, will see your products and still buy your products, whether they visit your website or visit it on Soul Journey of Life. It puts it in their face. You understand? They're on Soul Journey of Life. Your products, it's there for them to see, and it can pique their interest like it would any other kind of advertisement. So it basically don't see that as a hindrance to participate, but rather an expansion of whatever you're doing. You understand? Expanding your business, expanding your potential customers. That's how we should see, because that's how business works. Part of our problem, I think we have sometimes, is we are too individualistic. Being an individual is not an issue, but when we're so individualistic that we can't allow or can't accept in our modus operandi multiple avenues of pushing forth our products and services, you understand, that'll slow you down. Then we end up with being on this little island where why isn't nobody coming to my website? Well, we need to link hands, come together, just like I say in my songs.
Yes.
Harambe.
Yes. So what kind of a response are you getting from your music?
It depends. I will tell you the most recent song called Breathe, Flow and Sierra Leone have been the Sierra Leone song. I literally got within 3 days, I think it was 160 views. You understand? The Breathe Flow, within 2 days, it had about 70 views. So I get different responses depending on some of them are people who watch my YouTube channel that are aware. So it just depends on who's communicating. I did see like one marketer say that Thailand was enjoying Questman music. I don't know. Maybe, if I stop there, they might say, hey, that's Questman. I don't know. But really, I'll be honest. When I do my music, I do it inspired. You understand? It's like, I'll be sitting there or a certain experience, or certain, like, in the case of my spouse, my wife, sometimes I'll have an inspiring moment from there. So like, oh, boom, song. Or I'll have a moment where I have one song that there's a brother who's now incarcerated, and he's an activist, and I supported what values I've seen him push forward, and so I had a song for that.
Okay, and, you're speaking of Grandmaster Jay, I do believe. We got to step away for a few moments before we transition into the second half of the program, live to YouTube and Facebook. But I wanted to take this opportunity to remind our listeners that you're listening to 360 Info Network. Our guest is Abdulwadud. He is also known as Questman in his professional musician life. And he is someone who creates conscious music, and we are happy to bring him to the table. Also want to take this moment to remind you about what's going on at Larchmere Arts today. There is an art marketplace. The studio has been transformed into an art shop, so you can go there and you can get some African-centered art created by Rodney Carpenter and Bonnie Villable. They will be there at least until 6 p.m. today, and I have a feeling they're going to be back with us next weekend and the following weekend, so stay tuned for more about that. Brother Hamtonio, anything you want to share with us before we make our transition?
Yeah, just to remind you guys, yes, if you just do this for me. Go to hamtonio.garveynation.com, and if you want to get you some goods and services for Kwanzaa, Christmas, whatever, don't give it all to the system. Buy black. Buy black. That's what it's all about.
All right. I have a feeling that we're going to have a decent Kwanzaa season this year, and I think one of the first Kwanzaas that will take place will be at December 27th. I'm sorry, December 17th at the East End Neighborhood House, and I may end up officiating that. So stay tuned for that. We'll be sharing information with you about Kwanzaa as it comes up. Also, just wanted to take this time to thank our engineer, Tone Harley. Big ups to Tone, keeping us on the air and visible on YouTube and Facebook. Thanks for all that you do for us, Brother Tone. And thank you for listening. As always, know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, do everything that you can to make today your absolute best day. Peace, you all, and we'll see you next Saturday.
Peace and blessings.
All right, we are live to Facebook and YouTube. Hey, don't forget, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and share this video with other folks. We need to do things to affect the algorithms in a very significant way. And at some point, Brother Lynn will get to his 1,000, I'll get to my 1,000, and then we can start monetizing these channels. But we can't do it without you. So again, go to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, and make things happen for us. We have with us on the line Brother Questlove. I'm sorry, Questman, excuse me. Sorry about that. Brother Questman, also known as Abdulwadud, Dawud. We're happy to have him with us today. He has a great website. It's called Soul Journey for Life. We've been sharing about this, and we want you to get engaged with it. You know, last night I was back and forth with the brother looking to get his bio, and I didn't see it on the website, but I'm going to sign up for this website so that I can have access and perhaps provide some value to this website. And I would encourage you to do the same. So if you're interested, and I think you should be, you can go to www.souljourneyoflife.org. That's www.souljourneyoflife.org, and you can navigate the website and see the various features that are on it. There is the Village Circle, which will allow you to interact with other people, some subject matter experts, or someone who just might be someone that you want to befriend in a social media platform. But there are a lot of possibilities with that. He's also got an aspect of it called the Light Dome, where you have authors and musicians and artists and whatnot who have a platform for sharing their work and their information. For instance, you could go on and purchase a song. And this is really important because within the music industry, we have music being shared on platforms like Apple Music, like Spotify, like Amazon Music, and all of these platforms basically are exploiting artists because they don't get a whole bunch of money every time their song spins. But you can come to this website, you can purchase an artist's music, and that will benefit them in a much greater way than listening to their music on Spotify or any of the other music sharing platforms. There's great value in that, and we definitely want to make you aware of it. Anything you want to add to that, Brother Questman?
Yes, it's definitely true that, you know, not only it will support, you know, the artists themselves. Is a, you know, a direct interaction between, you know, what I would like to say is local artists or underground artists or artists that may not necessarily be in the mainstream, you know, like, you know, sometimes I think at least I can say I feel more close at home, or I feel more relatable when I'm connecting with brothers and sisters, artists who are ground level, as I would say. and not, you know, lifted up on some high platform in the mainstream. And that's not to say anything, bad about them, but sometimes the content tends to be more wholesome or more homely, more relatable to me. So, I like to be able to see the Light Dome as the environment where, locals, underground people who have artistic talent, content, I'd like to be able to see their material in the Light Dome for sale.
Okay.
One
All
thing I
right.
wanted to just say, to our listeners and people who might pick this up, is it's kind of, it's going back to when we was talking about the era that we are going into, the era as far as the electronics and being engulfed into something I was just reading the other day. He called it electro smog that is around us and things like that that we're being pulled into. Vince talked about that. We're being pulled into it. It's hard for us to get around. And all I just want to say, as far as health is concerned, let's see if we can do our best, to at least maybe once a week or something, get out into nature or turn off some of these devices to where we, just not bogged down with all the electromagnetic pollution that is around us all the time. So I'm just giving a little keynote there. We need to get into some meditation type of states, and when we do get into those meditative type of states, that we're not still surrounding ourselves with all this electro smog that is that he's bombarding us with. Because I really think, not to be totally conspiracy theorist type of driven, but I would definitely have to say that it's not in our best interest physically that that we're being engulfed in, and you have to think, is it intentional, or is it they just don't care? I don't know. However you want to size it up, it's not the best for us at this particular point. So take some time to take a break. Some talk about don't even sleep next to your phone, leave it in the other room, and get out in nature. It's hard for us now to get out in nature as far as our weather is to where we at. But if you can get out and get some fresh air and away from it, because right now they have those meters that is attached to our house that is transmitting, your gas bill, your light bill stuff. And they say that you could, if beforehand, you could have rejected that being put on your house, so we've been bombarded with that. So just a point of interest and a thought that while we're going down this road that they're trying to take us down, if we can take a little time to go out and hug a tree every now and then, it would be in our best interest.
Yeah, I want to amplify what you're saying, Brother Lynn, because it is important for us to disconnect. And I know we're talking about interacting with a website and it's an electronic device and all of that. But at the same time, you can go to this website and interact with someone who will tell you to do exactly what Brother Lynn just told you to do.
Say what classes is that, where they have meditation classes
right,
or something.
Right. And I also want to take this time to amplify folks in our community who are advocating for those kinds of things. For instance, you have Brother Ismail Douglas. Brother Ismail teaches Tai Chi. He teaches Capoeira. He also has an awareness of Qigong. So if you visit with him periodically when he does what he does, we have Brother Wayne Chandler. Again, he is a master at Qigong. And he can explain to you and give you an understanding of your physical being, but also aspects of your being that involve your biosphere, and these are the types of subject matter experts that could be present in that village circle so that you could get this information and then tie into those various modalities, take advantage of them, and live a better quality of life. I just want to reflect for a few moments about where we've been for the past 3 or 4 weeks. We had an election. There were results that a lot of people were deflated about, in their feelings about. Some folks were even crying. They put up a video of themselves crying because they didn't get what they wanted on November 6th. But the bottom line is, despite whatever happened, we have to move forward with our lives. And we talk about it on this program all the time. You got to do what you can do to live your best life, no matter what's going on in the world. And if they can keep you in a place of fear, anxiety, stress, worry, all those things, they have you exactly where they want you to be. But on the other hand, if you do things and you take countermeasures to live a better quality of life, then the things that they're doing don't matter. I'm going to stand on the soapbox about cryptocurrency for just a moment, because I'm doing a lot of research. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing a presentation tomorrow live via Zoom with a community of folks who are like-minded and who are focusing on these kinds of things. And as we do this program, I'm thinking that there might be a place on this website to provide this information about cryptocurrency. We talked about this dramatic change. The fourth industrial revolution is in full effect. Material is being digitized and tokenized. The world's biggest our asset managers are accumulating as much Bitcoin as they can, and they're doing it for a reason, because they want to own all of it. They want to own all of it, and then they want to sell you shares of stock, which is not ownership of the commodity, it's ownership of paper. So if you have any awareness of this world right now, this digital world that we are living in full effect, you would be taking advantage of this right now. And the thing about it is that it doesn't require you to purchase. For instance, with real estate, you got to buy the whole building. You don't have to buy the whole building. You can buy a small portion of it, buy that portion of it, and see it expand in terms of its value and its relevance. These are things that we can do right now with the right information. So the world is changing. I'll say it again. The world is changing. The money system is changing. The dollar is losing its value. They're printing more and more and more of it. And the more they print, the less it's worth. So if you don't have something else that is a store of value, then you'll be stuck with something that doesn't have any value. So word to the wise, look into it. Brother, I'm thinking about NFTs, and I don't know if you have any connection to the NFT world, but NFTs are one of the ways that artists are monetizing and protecting their intellectual property. I see that you have a technical background that enables you to create these websites. So I would have to assume that either you have a great team or you're technically adept. What are your thoughts about the potential for NFTs to be a method for artists to protect their intellectual property and also monetize it, if you know about that?
Uh-oh. Look like we might have lost it.
Looks like he's frozen again. You know, Lynn, I was watching a video this morning about how they're actually using 3D printers to make houses.
Yes, I think I've heard about that or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched the
Mhm.
video. The woman is giving a tour of her house, and the walls, they look kind of different. You know, it's hard to see because it was just such a small window on my computer screen. But to think that they could actually make a house with a printer, and they've got this device, some kind of it's huge. They've got this device that can actually construct the house using a printer. Brother Abdulwadud, you're back with us. Can we hear you?
Yes, I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I don't know if you heard the question, but I was asking you about NFTs as a means to protect intellectual property of artists and also monetize it. And I'm curious, given your background of you or your team that creates this great website, do you have any knowledge about NFTs? And if so, what plans do you have?
Well, I have some basic knowledge about it, you know, like Ethereum and Bitcoin and what have you. But I have to agree with what in essence what you said earlier. You know, a lot of this is built on the ownership of this digital currency. A lot of platforms and even gaming service providers, I'm aware of that, are getting involved in this. I think that what do you call the housing market structures is getting involved into it. A lot of things are going in that direction, and the only thing I could say is that for me, it requires a certain amount of knowledge. But one of the things I would remind us, because some of us, we are superstitious. You understand? We are superstitious about certain things, and I think this is one of the things that.
Okay, it looks like he froze up again. I'm not sure that he is completely aware of what non-fungible tokens are.
Obtain. I hope you guys hear me. I kind of spun out there.
Yeah, you did.
As much knowledge as you can about digital currency, and I'm saying that, you know, in this.
Okay, he froze again.
Are you guys hearing me?
Yeah, you're kind of going in and out.
I'm not sure what's going, because I got this. I think it might be something going on outside with the wind or weather or something. Not sure, because sometimes when the weather's acting funny, for some reason my network acts funny. I'm simply saying, you know, coming from a spiritual perspective, I would encourage people not to be too superstitious about Bitcoin, but sort of be in a neutral position. Learn about it, get an understanding about it, and then make an informed decision. You understand? You know, there's that saying, you know, not to put your eggs all in one basket. I think this is a situation where it's good to at least have a foot in the door. You know, when you're getting in the housing market, certain aspects of business, you need to, you know, you don't want to close any doors, is what I'm saying. You don't want to close any doors.
Okay.
Diversification.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
that's what I'll say about that.
Again, I've been doing quite a bit of research on it, and this represents a great opportunity for folks to create generational wealth and to participate, you know, and I think what happened is over a long period of time, people were scared away from cryptocurrency because it was demonized by people who didn't want everyone else to take advantage of it. And while they were demonizing it, they were taking advantage of it. So, you know, we went from driving a horse, you know, and buggy to driving a car. Now we got cars that are running on batteries, and we're moving towards cars that are driving on hydrogen. And we can't stay stuck with the horse and buggy while folks are driving a car on hydrogen that takes, you know, 15 seconds to fill up and will take you 600 or 700 miles. You know, so that's where we are right now. You know, you mentioned superstition, and I think that was part of the strategy of those who are taking full advantage of this system to keep you away from it so that you wouldn't participate.
Mind if I add a point to that? I tend to encourage people. I say, look, think of it this way. You know, the position that I put forth is, what is your position between technology? Is it serving you, or are you serving it? If it's serving you, then the technology is useful. If you're serving it, then that's where we got the problem. Okay, so you want to put yourself in a position where it's serving you, where you use it as an instrument to assist you, not to make you dependent on it as, oh no, I can't live without this thing, but rather this helps you get along, because that's like anything. You buy a chair to assist you so you don't sit on the floor. You buy a car to assist you to shorten the distance between point A and point B. So it's no different with any object that, you know, we bring about for our services. Is we utilize it to do just that, to be in our services. So I'll say, for example, and you know, I don't know if I'm for or against this, but I know, like, for example, Elon Musk is bringing these bots out. These I can't think of what their names are. They've got a name for it, but he's wanting to bring the prices down to such an extent where it's affordable for the average person, he says, right? And I'm thinking about these bots, you know, operating in people's houses, and how that, I'm thinking of it in a beneficial way. right? Like, that would free up some time for you because now you don't have to do A, B, and C. You're free to do the next thing, whatever that is, whatever business endeavor you're trying to do. And I think we as a people really need to dig in heavier on business ethics. I ask people all the time, where's our oil silos? Where's our embargo ship? Where's our import ships, import-export dock stations and whatnot? Where's ours? I'm talking about where that we own it. You understand? Where's our oil rigs and you name it? These big things. Where's our pharmacy import-export sources? The things that these big guys own that actually have something, that actually are making moves and able to be involved in global, communication.
Well, we tend not to get into the inquiring raw materials to create and manufacture stuff. We don't know nothing about that particular industry, or buying machines that can make this, make bottles. Now we get it on the next level, next processing part of it, but we never deal with. I used to say that for plenty years. We don't even know where to get these type of machines that can make this type of stuff.
Right.
We ain't even in the market for those, even a old version of it, because they update it. Get an old machine that can make the plastic, that can do this or something. We don't even think about those type of things. We're not even in those markets,
I saw a video the other day about a company in Kenya that is making electric motorcycles.
Yeah, okay.
So I think in certain ways we're waking up in areas, and we're beginning to understand the value that the continent of Africa has in terms of the resources, and also mindful of the fact that due to colonialism, we had countries that came in and extracted the raw materials, but did not leave the infrastructure for manufacturing those goods. So they would harvest those raw materials and then sell products to those countries that they essentially, I want to say RAPED, don't want our video to get taken down because we used the wrong word, speaking of censorship, but you understand what I'm saying. So, the idea is that some of us are waking up to the fact that we need to be productive and responsible, but in large mass, we are primarily consumers. Just another thing. And again, I'm just reflecting on information that comes my way.
Yes.
The Cadillac company, the General Motors. Do you all know that it was black folk that rescued Cadillac? Cadillac was on the verge of bankruptcy. And one of the reasons that they weren't successful is because they refused to sell their cars to black people. And as they were on the verge of bankruptcy, somebody in the company came up with this great idea, and they opened up the market to black folk. And as a result of that, Cadillac sales went up by 70%. Because now black folk, and this is in 1929, y'all. This is when the Great Depression was in full effect. But somehow we had enough money to buy these cars. So you hear this whole idea about black people buying Cadillacs or whatever. Well, when you are familiar with the history of that situation, you can have a greater appreciation for it. But the bottom line is that we're the best consumers that this country.
Absolutely.
And we have to get to a point where instead of consuming things, we create things. And Brother Lynn, you've been to Africa, you've seen it yourself.
Yeah.
You hit the streets, brothers and sisters that are out there hustling.
Yeah.
Whether you need a sewing machine, or you need some toilet paper, or whatever you need, somebody is walking up and down the street with it on their head or in a basket or something, so it's our nature. We get characterized as being lazy, but we do what we have to do to take care of ourselves. So we're not all sitting on the couch watching soap operas and eating bonbons and waiting for the check to arrive at the first of the month. That ain't who we are. But
But
to bring.
add to this, Vince. It's just a quick thing. I just want to just plug what you said about saving Cadillac. How many other companies we saved? You know what I mean?
Right.
We saved Timberland. We saved,
Probably
Tommy
saved
Hilfiger.
Nike.
We always saving somebody, but I say.
Well, not only that, we create the product. Jack Daniels whiskey is one of the most widely consumed brands. And who created Jack Daniels?
Brother showed him how to distill. Yeah.
So we're part of the process, but we're also part of the problem sometimes because we don't really fully acknowledge and recognize our talent, our ability, and our contributions. And we sit on the sidelines and we buy $200 gym shoes, and $5,000 purses and all these things that we waste our money on. I mean, just think about it. If you had invested $5,000 in Bitcoin 5 years ago, do you have any idea how much that $5,000 would be worth today? That $5,000 would have turned into something that would allow you to purchase a house with cash, buy your car with cash, and create a business that could create additional money. See, here's the thing. What we do is we live to serve debt.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to school, we get a job, and our objective is to buy a house, buy a car, buy some nice clothes, so forth and so on. And so all the money that we make goes towards satisfying our debt obligations. But the people who have money, they create money to make more money. So what they buy with their money is assets that create more income. This is the paradigm shift that we need to make in order to be successful, not just in this country, but around the world. We have to change our mindset from a debt to an asset. We have to learn how to leverage credit to acquire assets that generate income. That's the name of the game. That is the game, folks.
Yes.
That's the game.
Acquire
assets that create more money. Abdulwadud?
Yeah, I think I've got an idea of thought about what is bringing this about. This kind of still position, and it's two things that I'm thinking about. One is that we don't see ourselves as a people. It goes back to that individualistic term, and every other community, even in this country, sees themselves as a collective. You understand? If you look at the Asiatic community, they see themselves as a collective. Mexican community, they see themselves as a collective. We're the only people in this land, right here in the United States, that do not see ourselves as a collective, but as individuals. That's one problem, one hindrance, if you would. The other hindrance is we don't view ourselves highly. We don't see ourselves as credible, even though we say it. We say that we are, I'm this, I'm that, look at me, bling, bling. But when it comes to actually seeing ourselves as valid scholarships or valid scholarly people, valid medically informed people, valid industrial people, business on a high level, we always tend to look at other people. For example, if you ask somebody about what they think about someone from China, oh, they're smart, they're wise, they're this, they're that. Somebody from the Mexicans, they're always hardworking. They're always doing all the jobs. You're not hardworking. You're not smart. You're not wise. You're not all these things. You're not sophisticated. You're not inventive. You understand? So even when we make something, even when we invent something and put something forth, we still cast it off to someone else, or cast the idea of it. Well, I can't do it unless they like it, or I can't do it unless it's approved by them, or unless they won't. I got to make music that white people like. Something like that. We have little words that we put that kind of shifts the honor off to somebody else, instead of seeing ourselves as worthy, as able to do the very things, if not better than, other people that are doing the same things. So I think if we were to find a way to bandage that wound and find a way to see ourselves, when you look in this block right here and this block right here, oh, that's one of us. That's one of us right there. and then, you know, operate accordingly. You know, I'm not saying that we're all going to, you know, like you got, like I said, the Asian community, they're taking on different tasks. But when when the money comes in, when the currency comes in, it's feeding their community. They're sick, they're needy, whoever is feeding their community. That's why you're not going to see too many of them sitting on the curb of the street, because there's somewhere, somehow, that they're able to be provided for by their own people. When we see ourselves as a people, then we begin to operate as a people. When we see that we are capable, that we are intelligent, we have the potential, just like anyone else, if not better than, to do any of these things.
Right, my brother. I'm with you. And one of the origins of that type of thought, that illness that we have, it's been orchestrated. You know, it's a part of the whole media program, you know, that's been bestowed upon the Black community as a problem. You know, they've done so great of a job of making you think that their ice is colder than your ice. They did a great job of not letting you know about who you are, what you did, and your accomplishments. Look at it right now, brother. We're in 2024 and still finding out things that we did and these accomplishments that could have motivated and inspired our kids to do a whole lot of things, you know.
Yeah.
So that set us as you know, back as, you know, as a deficit on this is one of the reasons why we don't support each other like that. You know, these guys, you know, you talk about the Asian and these particular communities, they have a culture that feeds into their psychic, their ego, they're self-confident, and they motivate because they know who they are. They know what they come from, and they know the importance of those particular things. We're just still trying to get back into the game of that, you know, and that was an intentional situation to keep us right where we are, because we know, you know, hey, your book talks about the original. When you're dealing with the original, brother, you know, that's the original. And they cannot let this all this talent, you know, come out like that. You know what I mean? Because it's going to put them in a position that goes against that supremacy mantra or narrative that they've been putting out there, or that you're not smart, you're not this, you're not that. Those things that they put out there to keep us actually, you know, looking at them as some type of savior for us as a people. But if you know who you are, that's what it's all about, knowing who you are and having a culture. That's what I preach all the time. Knowing those particular two things could solve a lot of our issues but first, before anything can happen, you have to recognize that you got a problem so you can start fixing. They say before healing can take place, recognizing that you got an issue, and we have to really go into those things and really start understanding and learning and seeking. Yes. And that's why we need platforms like this for people to tell our story, because our story, and look what's going on, because this is the age of information and things are coming out. But look at the offensive that they are doing now. They try to do critical race theory. You got people in Egypt getting mad because we found out that these was Black people. You got the caretaker over there coming to the stakes and trying to downplay that these ancient Egyptians built these the pyramids and things like that. You're having some issues even in South America. You know, they want to dispute the Olmec thing. So it's a concerted effort, man, to keep us at this position on where we're at right now. And we got to ask ourselves a question: why? Why is somebody spending so much time, money, and effort to keep us in this position that we are in mentally?
The answer to that, real quick, is that we invite them to do just that. Because see, every other community, you know the reason why I don't know what's going on inwardly in the Asian community or the Mexican community or the Somali community, because they keep their business within and amongst themselves. We do everything like what they call braggadocio. We do everything. We reveal everything. Everything is on our chest, so to speak. You know, and we look for the attention and approval of other people. Look, white man, look at what we can do. Look at what I just did. See, Mr. Officer, didn't I do a good job at this? It's like we keep on putting ourselves in a position where we gotta, one, prove ourselves to them, find them being impressed with us, and get them in our business. And
cultural community.
yeah,
We need a
so
cultural community.
so that's why I'm saying we need to be able to change our language, change our communication direction, and make it so that it draws from within. You understand? So even these matters like you're talking about historical, you know, that's offensive to them because we're talking to them about it, but they're not talking to us about anything that concerns them, whether it's true or false. They're not making a conversation. They're not inviting us to a table. Well, here, come to us and explain to us why you think that these are you. They're not doing that. They're looking at us saying this and presenting this amongst ourselves on social media platforms, YouTube, etc., and having this discussion. Now, imagine if we had this same discussion, same building process amongst our own self, and kept it there. You understand? Then not only would we be empowering ourselves, the power would remain amongst ourselves in its own right, and we would be able to become our own power power source. You understand?
Yeah, I just want to drop this in. I watched a video yesterday with Pharrell. Pharrell was talking about equity, and he made a beautiful point. And the point that he was making is, instead of asking to be invited to the table, we got to create our own table. You know, the reason that we buy all those flashy things and we are the ultimate consumers because we lack self-awareness and self-esteem. So we buy those things to make ourselves feel good about ourselves because we think that external thing provides value to us. But the issue was not knowing ourselves. And because we don't know history, that we don't know ourselves, we don't know who we are. So that's why we got to prove something to somebody, because we don't know who we are. So I'm in full agreement, brother. You know, we have to go within to discover who we are, to discover where our power is, and to live in it. And as long as we live in the narrative that places us in a state of victimhood, we will continue to operate as victims. The disunity in the Black community is because we focus on our differences instead of our similarities. But we all dealing with the same racism, the same, you know, dysfunction across the board. So we have to change our own narrative and go from victim to victor. Victim to victor. Narrative has to change.
You know what? Something that Dr. Amos Wilson did see, and it's hard for us to see, and also Brother Delzino, you know, with the Buy Black Network, you know, they market to us. You know, you turn on the computer, they marketing to you. You know, you turn on the radio, they market. You turn on the TV, they marketing to you. You know, they're on your phone, they marketing to you. So they're seeking you. You know, and that's why you tend to go to those particular things. You know, how well has a Black business or something marketed to you? How well is that? You know, have they've done that? They haven't done a good job in doing that. You know what I mean? So, but that's the main thing. But something that Dr. Amos Wilson said too is that change the things that you value, because he's making you value those things because he's marketing into you. So change the things that you value, and the man loses his power over you.
Yes.
If you quit chasing that carrot that he's dangling in front of your head, I don't even want that. That's all right. That's cool. We're gonna do something else. You know, then he loses his power over you. So he keeps, you want this, showing the nice red convertible car, and you get the women, and you get this and you get that. He's marketed to you. He got you salivating over those particular things. But once you get into a higher level of thinking and consciousness, you understand that, you know, those things stop controlling you, and you stop driving for those particular things. And that's what I think one of the things we have to get our heads on right in reference to it. Even though it may be second level, you know, I'm something that I'm putting together. How much talent Black folks got? So enormous. You know what I mean? You know, I would just use and just give me a quick second. Let's use the basketball and football situation. It's most of our talent that is doing this, but the man has so many people that he can put on the roster. So what are our other talented folks got to do? They got to go somewhere else. They going to England and the different places now to display their talent. To do what? Make them rich. You know, offer your talent. If we the only people that the supply chain is coming from us. 80% of the folks running up and down that court and field is us. How do we allow somebody else to control our talent pool like that? And we not get into the game. So even if we got to go through secondary situations and create our own leagues again, we may not have a big stadium like you got downtown, but it can be a start of something. And now our talented ones don't have to go out there and make some more money for somebody else. Go play on the English team. Go play on this thing. They could be right here, and that money is evolving right around in our own community, you know, or wherever they at in the states here, instead of giving it to somebody else. But look at the mentality. We're okay with letting somebody else run the show for us on our talent pool.
But like
I don't know nobody else would do anything like that. That's mental, man. That don't make no sense.
The brother mentioned the term victimhood, right? Let me ask you, if we understand that a shark is dangerous.
You muted, Vince. You muted.
I'm sorry. Hold up. I just have to mention this because we don't think about this commonly. But what you just talked about in terms of that whole professional athlete piece is it is a paradigm of slavery. And you can look at the language of it and get the full gist of it.
Yeah.
Within the NFL, you have owners. And these owners own players. They own the player. Now, if a person can own another person, that is the paradigm of slavery.
Right.
And they might get multi-million-dollar contracts, but they're still owned by someone. And they can get hurt, and that whole house of cards comes crashing down.
Yes, it does.
They have these brothers. Back in the day, we used to stand on a block, and they would talk about how good our teeth were and how strong and muscular we are and how suitable we were for breeding and all of that.
Yep.
Nothing about that has changed. Them brothers are running 40 yards to see who can run the fastest. Oh, that's a good slave right there. He can do the 40 in 3.9 seconds. Or whatever the flagship time is.
Yes.
But ladies and gentlemen, that is slavery. And that person with that multi-million-dollar contract is nothing more than a highly paid slave. And many of them, as a matter of fact, most of them, when their careers come to an end, they end up divorced, they end up bankrupt, some of them end up homeless because they got all those resources and they didn't know what to do with them.
Right.
They get that big contract and the first thing they do is buy mama a house. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But sometimes those resources go to waste and they could go towards building institutions and businesses. Some of them, like ex-Detroit Lions players, create car dealerships and they make lots of money. But most of them, nah, they got the money, they lost the money.
Vince,
it's just another form of slavery.
Threat, Vince. They don't mind getting that big contract because they know 80% of it, you're just going to turn around and give it right back to the system.
Exactly. Exactly.
Let me ask you this question. If we know that a shark is dangerous, right? We don't have to continue. We don't have to say, oh, well, wait a minute, the shark is dangerous every day or every year. We acknowledge it and we either avoid it or deal with the problem, right? I'm saying this because I think one of our hangups is we keep on as a people, not all of us, but there's a significant number of us that keep on investing in the very things that enrich the white folks and whatnot. And I'm saying it that way. And that includes racism. This is a money grab for anyone amongst them that wants to be rich. Put racism in the mix, or do something that inspires racism, or do something that instigates racism, or instigates the hatred that comes from it. I'm not saying that racism isn't a reality. It's a very, very clear reality, and the outcome of it, the hatred, the loss of life that comes from it. But what I'm saying is that the investment, when they grab our attention by these, grab our emotions by these, and then benefit from it. You understand? Organizations rising up, sponsored by them, financed by them, benefiting from our hurt, our pain, and then toying with our emotions so that we continue to feed it again and again and again, you know, from the loss of our lives, from the loss of, you know, our livelihoods and so on. You understand? So there's got to be some way we can shut these things, shut out the things that have nothing to do with us, and say, well, here's where the line is drawn. This is not about us. This is your thing. Like, it makes me think of a comic where somebody was like, you know, isn't February your month? Why aren't you celebrating Black History Month, right? And it's like, well, that's for you. Our Black History is all year long. So Black History Month is for you. Meaning it was like a white boy that came up to a black boy questioning him about Black History Month. He said, that's for you. You need Black History Month to make you feel better about us. Black History Month is Black Year for us. So my point in saying that is, when we stop allowing them to snatch our words, to snatch our concepts, snatch our terms, and then take it from us and alter it, then give it back to us, and then we jump on that definition and that meaning, and we start, you know, bannering that around. You know, when we can control, say, no, this is what we mean when we say hip hop. This is what we mean, not because you're trying to define hip hop for me. This is what I'm saying hip hop is, and this is how it's going to remain. Or these are the people who are artists, or these that we make art, that we've defined ourselves amongst ourselves, and this is an ABC, see your way out of our conversation type thing. We have to get to a point where we, you know, can harness what comes from us, what originates from us, and not free sourcing it or what have you.
I want to use the word that you just used to illustrate a point that I was just making, and that was the nature of the Coliseum and that whole sports paradigm. Because what they're doing is they're harvesting energy. They're harvesting our energy. Okay? So when you put on a fight, and we talked about this last week, but when you put on a fight that means absolutely nothing, that breaks Netflix because so many people are tuned in to watch two people beat up on each other, they're harvesting your energy successfully. Do you know that the most widely watched things on television on the planet are football games? The NFL has the most widely watched programs, the top 10, with the exclusion of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. NFL football attracts more viewers than anything else in the world. So you watching men engage in this violent sport. Think about it, man. How many times have you seen somebody get carried off the field because they got some type of injury because of the violence in the sport? And we get sucked into that. But in terms of how we answer that, is something that you suggested, brother. Turn it off.
Yeah.
Turn it off. Don't get consumed and wrapped up and allow your energy to be harvested in a way that's not beneficial to you. I just
changing your value. Changing your value. What's important to you? They bank on that. You know, they bank on that on and that's why this things like this is so important. You know, the TV and things that's why you got a certain group of people who market and monopolize distribution of things. You know how we can and we can create our own network of even distribution, but we don't do that. You know, you had Mata and a few other little programs that was trying to do that, create their own distribution hubs where you can get your stuff out, get your messaging out. That's the name of the whole thing right there. You know, of getting our goods and services, and that's why, you know, I support the Buy Black Network thing. At least they're trying to do something to create a vehicle to distribute and get our goods and services out there. You know what I mean? And we got to have the right mindset of, with some intentionality of understanding why we need to support those particular things. And
everybody's,
pardon?
I was going to say everybody's kings and queens, so that's kind of a challenge. When everybody's a king and a queen, that means nobody's willing to be humble.
Yeah, you got to know the purpose.
Because everybody ain't kings and queens,
right?
You know, but everybody has a role to play. You know, we talk about this all the time. It's really about knowing your purpose and living in your purpose and contributing for the benefit of everyone. We talk about Ubuntu. You know, that's what it's all about. So yeah, it's sexy to call somebody king or queen. You know, the reality is just live in whatever royalty is you. Whether it's a king, a queen, a prince, you know, whatever title you want to use, but just live within a positive purpose.
Hey, real quick, Vince. You know, I know we about to shut it down, close it, but you know, we didn't talk too much about this. You know, you mentioned a little bit about the election and maybe the direction that we may be going as a people. And it's unfortunate a lot of times for Black folks. You know, we got to be in that fight or flight type of mode for us to come together and do something. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how we move forward with some of the agenda, because he's you know, because you know, some of the Black people who did vote for him are saying that, you know, he ain't a racist, he you know, number 47, 40, 45, 47, he ain't racist, and he like Black people and all those things. But look at all the moves that's being made. Look at all the moves that's being made with his cabinet and the things he's doing, and we forget so quickly, because when he was number 45, you know, he did some things with the DEI back then that showed you where he was thinking about. Now he's talking about, hey, you know, when we had our European brothers that was out here screaming reverse racism and things like that, you know, now he's trying to reward them if they felt like they was discriminated on based on a DEI situation. Do you honestly think that these folks and these institutions will fairly give Black folks a position, you know, in some of these higher places that they are qualified to run? Do you think out the goodness of their heart, without any government intervention, that they would do this out the goodness of their heart? So, but you know, but you got these other folks, these European families and people thinking that, hey, well, you know, they just getting a number, or they just doing this, or just a token here and this, that, and other. Kamala wasn't qualified to be president. Barack Obama wasn't qualified to be president. You best believe, if you got some Black CEOs that are running corporations, you best believe they are qualified. They're overqualified, because they wouldn't put them in those positions. You know what our parents used to tell us all the time? You got to be twice as good to get in some of these particular places right there. So you best believe they ready to do it. But he's set up, and he want to give them some type of restitution and stop any funding to these educational institutions if they're caught, you know, trying to level the playing field and giving some Black folks some scholarships that might not have been privy to it, you know. Something, it's gonna be interesting how we go forward with this, and it may be something again, you know, we got to be in dire need to put us to, you know, bring us together and start thinking as a collective. I don't know. We'll see.
You know what I think? I'll be honest with you. I think that we're first of all, I think that we're about to get that opportunity. But not in the nice way we might think we were going to get it. There's a lot of things that are happening right now, and I think sometimes when we have these conversations, we forget about events going on globally and how they affect us, how they impact our life as we know it. You understand? As quote unquote Black, quote unquote African Americans, whatever, you know, formula we want to use. For me, you know, I'm wholesome when it comes to being melanated. You understand? So it all applies for me. You know, like James Brown said, black and proud.
Yeah.
But so what I'm saying here is that there are things that are happening at large that, you know, are so fragile that, you know, can impact economically, can impact anything that would impact even the wealthy people economically is going to affect us. Anything that, I mean, whether even in our entertainment industry, no matter where it is, we will be affected by whatever happens to anyone else. The thing is to think about is how it will affect us, and considering our predicament, considering, you know, think about opportunistic people who like to take advantage of these moments, as I already mentioned earlier, the stock of racism. You understand? I'm saying that in an economic sense, not in a civil sense. The stock, the investment in racism, the investment in keeping us a certain way. You understand? The investment in how to monitor us. You know, often point out the cameras that are in our neighborhood, but when you go out to like a Westlake or someplace, they're not there. You know, but they're smothering, you know, some of the inner city neighborhoods, right? You know, just the stock in that. So what I'm saying is that I mean, imagine, because life, there's a lot of unpredictability that can happen, things that you don't expect. When you deal with like wars, you know, I'm not sure how many of us study like warfare and things of that nature, but there's a lot of unpredictability because you don't know what the authorities or the leadership of another country is thinking and how they might respond. And just, you know, we're so used to, we're so comfortable that, you know, we're convinced that we live in a place of invincibility, even though we tend to find ourselves at the low end of the spectrum. So it seems, right? The low end of society here. That's the perspective they put us, even though we're not. We're actually, you know, very intelligent folks over here. I'm talking about the melanated community. There's talent and scholarly people that would amaze you to sit and talk with them. You understand? But what my point is that we're comfortable. We're too comfortable. We're too relaxed. And I'm not convinced that we're prepared if anything were to go down a certain way that would shake things up as from business as usual. I don't think we would know what to do. A significant number of us. And so going to what you're saying, the reason why I believe that we will have an opportunity is that should things go a certain way, it would put us in a predicament where we would have no choice. Not because we would choose to get together and be together and think like we got some sense, but we wouldn't have any other option.
That's right.
Either you do or you die.
That's right. That's right. And I'm just saying, it's a shame we got to get to that point for us to do that. That's the point I was making. It's a shame. You got to be fight or flight, you know.
Yeah.
But that's where we are. That's where we are right now. We got to do something, you know. And I think what this brother has done is he's taken a step towards implementing something that could be a benefit to a community that engage in it. So I'm going to post the website again so those who are viewing us right now can see it. Go to the website, explore it, see what's in it there, what's in it for you. If you are a vendor, you can make a connection with a marketplace posting to this website. If you're an artist and you want to get your music out there, or you're an author, you want to get your book out there, you can go to this website and share it and get folks engaged in it. Sometimes we got to stop talking about the problem and do something about the problem. So I commend you, brother, for bringing this to our attention, for creating this platform. And I encourage folks to take advantage of it. And who knows, maybe we can see some synergy here in Cleveland and get out of our silos and connect with each other and do some meaningful things. I know there are a few things that we need to be talking about right now. One of them is food. We need to connect folks who are growing food with folks who need the food, so that the food that's grown doesn't go to waste. Because sometimes we grow food in community gardens and it goes to waste because everybody's going to Giant Eagle and Whole Foods. When we got folks in our community who are growing food that is better for us because it's grown here, and in many cases it's grown organically, so there's less danger in it. You know, you got the Bill Gateses of the world who create products like A-Peel, put a coating on fruit or vegetable that can't be washed off or cleaned off, and then you end up eating it and dealing with whatever pathogens or carcinogens are in that food. So yeah, we're in a place where we got to do something, because if we don't, they will effectively destroy us. That's why Americans' health is some of the worst health on the planet.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know, the food supply has us in a place of dysfunction. And when we go to the doctor, they don't suggest to us that we change our diet. They don't suggest to us that we eat organic foods, fruits, and vegetables. They don't suggest that we eat one meal a day. They don't suggest that we push back against the things that are causing us to be sick. They say, oh, take this pill. You can eat anything you want.
Yes.
And we take the pill, and then we come back to the doctor. Oh, doc, my knee hurt. My back hurts. Oh, you got all this inflammation and pain in your body because you just drank 2 Cokes a day and you just ate 15 teaspoons of sugar because you drank something that was poison. So again, just support this brother, support the website, and let's see where things go from here. Brother, anything else you want to share with us before we conclude the program?
Simply this. And by the way, I do have a song that if you want to go out with it, I have a song set up.
Turn it up loud.
I definitely appreciate, the invitation and the opportunity to break bread with the family and, communicate, the website and what have you. That was definitely appreciated. And, I definitely encourage brothers and sisters, that watch my platform to make sure you tune in to our brother posting 360 info, right?
Yeah, and 360 Info Network.
360 Info Network. And definite salute. One big salute. Let me set it up for you so it'll be ready. And I think the volume should be up. Yeah, there we go. The volume's up now. All right. So this is Breathe Flow. This is one of the most recent releases. It's out now. You can get it on Soul Journey of Life .org/the light dome.
Questman.
Outy body, outwardly feminine. There's always a place in my heart for you to be. Outy body, outwardly feminine. There's always a place in my heart for you to be. Outy body, outwardly feminine. There's always a place in my heart for you to be. Outy body, outwardly feminine. There's always a place in my heart for you to be.
Take my hand, be my lady, you and me. On this journey, leave our worries. Breeze is flowing, fly together. Beyond the galaxy, make a wish. My dream for beauty, give me a kiss. Sweet, so closely, do you love me? Say you love me, do you love me? Say you love me.
Just touch the sky, breathe out. 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 Touch the sky, breathe out.
Touch the sky, breathe, flow, just touch the sky, breathe, flow, touch the sky, touch the sky, just touch the sky, breathe, flow, just touch the sky, breathe, flow, just touch the sky, breathe, flow, just touch the sky, touch the sky.
Y'all ain't ready for me.
Take my hand, be my lady, you and me. On this journey, leave our worries. Breeze is flowing, fly together. Beyond the galaxy, make a wish. My dream of beauty, give me a kiss. Sweet so closely, do you love me? Say you love me, do you love me? Say you love me.
Just touch the sky, breathe out. 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 Touch the sky, breathe out.
Touch the sky, breathe, flow. Touch the sky, breathe, flow. Touch the sky, breathe, flow. Touch the sky, touch the sky, touch the sky. breathe, flow, touch the sky, breathe, flow, touch the sky, breathe, flow, touch the sky, touch the sky. Questman.
Powerful stuff, brother. Powerful, you know, and what I like about it, I like the imagery and I like the message. I mean, it's a direct reflection of consciousness because we are able to appreciate our beauty. And the most important thing that we do every day, because without it, we can't live, is breathe.
Yes.
And the key to success in life is your ability to control your breath. So,
Yes.
for instance, slowing your breath down has tremendous benefits. So there's a lot there to unpack, and hopefully folks will get the message. Brother, it's been a pleasure to have you on the air today. You know, I try to be a man of my word, and I told you I was going to have you on the show.
Definitely.
And we made it happen. So thanks for being with us today.
Thank you very much. Have a blessed day. Take care.
Brother Lynn, anything you want to share before we go? You're muted.
Just reminding people to, when if they go out there, buy something to support somebody in your community. Log on to the brother's website and put some content on there that you think it could be needed, and share it with people who look like you. It's about providing for us. Let me say this real quick. You know, when we talked about our Hispanic community not, doing what they should have done during the election, we always open the door for everybody else to walk in with issues. We bang on the door for civil rights. We talk Rainbow Coalition and everything else. We bring everybody in, but we never hear anybody else saying brown and black people. This is for brown, and every time we say so, for brown and black people, for brown and black people. Hey, for some black people. Just do it for ourselves, for us, and us alone. Okay, let's do something for ourselves and us alone. So buy something for somebody that is black who look like you and support them. Go to Buy Black Network, or you go to hamtonio.garveynation.com. You can go to this brother's site and see what you can put on or sell or market there. Do something for us this year instead of quit always doing something for somebody else. Dr. Whitaker say he's leaving this country because guess what? These people using our funds to help them oppress us. So he said, I'm taking my funds out of here because you ain't gonna use my funds no more to help suppress me. That's his theory of moving out of the country. These dollars you're not going to get, then I'm not going to circulate back to your businesses to help suppress me. So I'm taking my monies and businesses elsewhere.
Well, I'm going to do one of yours, Brother Lynn, and kind of semi-quote Claude Anderson. But basically, you want to vote with your pocketbook. Because when you decide where you want to spend your money and where you're not going to spend it, that's when you see real results and real change. And with that, as always, know yourself, love yourself, be yourself. Make today your best day, everyone. Peace.
Peace. All right.